First, on CBS This Morning, investigators tell 48 Hours they now have a person of interest in the mysterious death of actress Natalie Wood. In November 1981, the rebel without a cause actress drowned after disappearing from her family's yacht. Wood's death was originally ruled an accident, but in 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened that investigation. 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty has covered the Wood case for 6 years. In this preview of Saturday's 48 Hours, investigators reveal new leads in this Hollywood mystery for the first time.
In life, Natalie Wood was one of the biggest film stars imaginable. A child star in Miracle on 34th Street.
Well, young lady, what's your name?
Susan Walker, what's yours?
Then Rebel Without a Cause.
I'm never going back.
And Gypsy.
I am Gypsy Rose Lee!
But it is her mysterious death that keeps her legend alive. In 1981, Natalie Wood was out sailing with her husband, actor Robert Wagner, her Oscar-winning young co-star Christopher Walken, and their captain Dennis DeVerne, when she mysteriously disappeared from the yacht.
I remember people coming on the boat saying that they had found Natalie Wood floating. I just couldn't believe it.
Natalie's death was quickly ruled an accidental drowning, but rumors and allegations of foul play remained, fueled in great part by the boat's captain, Dennis DeVerne. He claims there was a terrible fight between Natalie and Wagner outside on the back of the boat that night.
I believe that Robert Wagner was with her up until the moment she went into the water.
I'm Lieutenant John Carino.
30 years later, in 2011, DeVerne and over 700 others signed a petition asking the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for a second look.
This new information is substantial enough for us to want to take another look at the case.
The case was reopened. Lieutenant Carina and veteran homicide detective Ralph Hernandez have been doggedly working it ever since.
So over the last 6 years, have you been able to get even more evidence that makes you question that this was an accident?
We have. We believe that there was a lot more to it than what was being told.
They weren't alone. A medical examiner, after reviewing the number of bruises in the autopsy report, changed the manner of death from accidental to undetermined.
Why are all these bruises suspicious to you?
Because she looked like the victim of an assault.
And for the first time, investigators say they have corroboration for DeVerne's story about the fight. When the case was reopened, 2 new witnesses from a neighboring boat came forward, claiming they not only heard the fight, one says she saw it.
Saw figures on the back of the Splendor, a male and a female, whose voices they recognized as being Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood, arguing in the back of the boat.
Investigators still don't know how Natalie Wood got in the water, but Lieutenant Carina has his suspicions.
Do you believe Natalie Wood was murdered?
I think it's suspicious enough to make us think that something happened. I don't think she got in the water herself. I don't think she fell into the water.
And they have questions about Robert Wagner's accounts of that night.
Do you think Robert Wagner has ever told the truth of exactly what happened?
I haven't seen it, and his version of events just don't add up to the evidence and the witnesses we found.
Is Robert Wagner a suspect?
No.
When the case was reopened, Lieutenant Carina said Robert Wagner was not a suspect. We asked if that had changed.
As we've investigated the case over the last 6 years, I think he's more of a person of interest now. We know now that he was the last person to be with Natalie before she disappeared.
Robert Wagner declined 48 Hours' request for an interview. Erin Moriarty joins us at the table to discuss. Erin, good morning. I remember this was such a huge story at the time. It was 24/7 coverage because she was a big deal. So help us understand about Robert Wagner. What's the difference between a person of interest and a suspect?
Well, he's never been a suspect, and he is not now. What it is, he's a person of interest. They're calling him that for the very first time because they believe this is a suspicious death, and they now believe on what they've gathered that he was the last person to see her alive. They also say that his accounts over the years just don't match the evidence that they've gathered and the witnesses. I think the biggest example is that what I mentioned in the piece is that Wagner said they did not have a fight before she disappeared, and for a long time it was just the ship's captain who said it. Now the investigators say they have 2 new witnesses who claim that they heard the fight, and one actually said she saw it. Also, Wagner's story has changed a little bit over the years. Initially, there was broken glass from a wine bottle in the salon. He told investigators it was broken in rough seas. Later, he admitted that he did break it as part of a fight inside the salon.
Any reason, do you have any answer as to why the witnesses are coming forward now, 30 years later?
Well, I think because it was called an accident,
Okay.
and according to the investigators, they thought it wouldn't help. But why one has credibility, specifically on Friday night. One witness saw a fight Friday night, the night before, and he said it was actually Natalie Wood being the aggressor, and she fell on her knee. And sure enough, in the autopsy report,
bruises.
there's a bruise on her knee. So they find these new accounts acceptable and credible.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Erin Moriarty. You can see Erin's full report. It's called Natalie Wood, Death in Dark Water on 48 Hours, Saturday night at 10, 9 Central, right here on CBS.